Welcome to Thrive on Plants. This is the podcast where we get real about women's health. No sugarcoating, no superficial wellness talk. I just want to have the honest conversations for women navigating midlife, hormones, health, identity, and power. I'm your host, Dr. Daphne Bascom. Today, I am joined by Ashley Rocha, the CEO of a company called Ladywell. Ladywell is a women's health focused company that is redefining how we think about hormonal care. Now, you'll learn more about Ashley in the heart of the podcast, but Ashley started her journey by trying to solve her own challenges. She went through 20 years of premenstrual dysphoric disorder, or PMDD, challenges with fertility, and her efforts to heal her own body are what led her to develop Ladywell. Today, you're going to hear about supplements, about adaptogens, about vitamins and minerals, but the most important thing I want you to take away from today's conversation is what you need to know as a consumer about understanding one, your own hormone health, two, about your choices that you need to understand when you're putting things into your body, and two, how products like Ladywell may be a supplement, pun intended, to everything you're doing in terms of focusing on your mindset, your nutrition, your sleep, your stress, your toxin awareness, everything we talked about in the plant powered blueprint. So I hope you enjoy this conversation with Ashley, CEO of Ladywell, and let's dig in. Ashley, welcome to the Thrive on Plants podcast. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Ashley, being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart.
Mhm.
Can
That's
you
true.
Can you share a little bit more about what led you to found Ladywell? And, what was your journey to getting to where you are today with the company and all the amazing resources that you provide for women?
Yeah, well, I definitely have an entrepreneurial spirit. That was always, I think, my life plan. Before Ladywell, I had a different company. So I founded multiple companies before, but Ladywell was really founded out of my own personal struggles with my health. And it's really a mission driven company. So that's why it's so special to me because it's really solving something for myself that I saw a need for and that I knew that other women needed. So I brought it to market. I began Ladywell because I had PMDD for like 2 decades in my life. Basically, the moment I went through puberty, I was thrown into this cycle of just really intense mood swings, really easy to anger, overwhelm. For people who don't know what PMDD is, it's like PMS on steroids. Basically, it's the emotional pieces of PMS really dialed up. So you can feel depression, hopelessness, definitely have mood swings, and it's usually around the luteal phase, so about a week or two before your period begins. And then once your period happens, then those symptoms disappear. And I also had really common symptoms of PMS. I was taking like 20 Advil a day for my period, and this went on for 2 months, or sorry, 2 decades, not 2 months. I wish it was that short, but 2 decades I struggled with this, and anytime I went to my doctor, it was the same story. They told me to take hormonal birth control. They said, "This is PMS, this is normal, this is part of being a woman, so basically deal with it." And I was just kinda led to believe that this was normal and that my mood swings are just part of my personality, so there was a lot of shame and,
Uh-huh.
a shame spiral that came with it every month. And it was my mid-30s, I was trying to get pregnant, I was really slow to get pregnant, I wasn't happy in the way that I wanted it to, and so I started looking at my health as many women do, and understanding hormones. We are not taught about our hormones when we are little girls or teenagers, we don't know about our cycles. I didn't know any of this information, and it really opened my eyes to understanding my body and fixing my hormone imbalance that I had had for so long. And trying to solve this fertility issues, I was able to get rid of my PMDD, and it was just life changing because I wasn't in this hormonal roller coaster every month. And I also was able to get pregnant and have 2 baby boys now. And my life just significantly changed by just understanding my body, first and foremost, but also alleviating these hormonal symptoms and things that were getting away. My productivity, my relationships were gone. And I wanted to bring these solutions to other women. It took me so long to find this information, find these solutions, And this wasn't a I was growing up in a time where social media was, newer in the infancy. There wasn't a lot of information out there. Luckily nowadays, like, you can go on TikTok and find a lot of information about your hormones if you're looking for that, and the
Good and
algorithm
bad.
catches on, yeah. Sometimes it's too much information, right? Um, but I wanted to create accessible, natural based solutions that women could help with them on their hormonal health journey from puberty all the way to menopause. And we all are on a hormonal journey no matter what, whether we're going through PMS, perimenopause, fertility, pregnancy, postpartum, where you're at in your life. And I have the support that you need with Ladywell. So natural plant-based solutions. I'm an herbalist. I was studying herbalism more in terms of skincare.
Mhm.
But once I started going on this health journey, then I really switched my path and focused more on women's health and reproductive health and perimenopause and all that kind of stuff.
So, Ashley, first of all, 20 years is a long time. Um, and I would not advise anyone to be taking 20 Advil a day. Definitely,
No, I mean, terrible for your gut health, am I right?
but and your liver health.
Yes.
So what's the secret? I mean, I was trained in traditional medicine, and to your point, even though I'm a woman, even though you would think I would understand my body, I didn't. This was where I am today. I wish I had been there 20 years ago. But can you share more about what natural products women can be taking? Because I coach women, our coaches coach women who have PMDD, PMS, perimenopause, menopause, and everyone is looking for, there's no easy button, but it sounds like through your own health journey, you've been able to distill down information that we're all hunting for into maybe to codify it in a way that we understand for what may be helpful at different stages.
Yeah, so there's definitely easy things that you can do to help your hormones. I say easy, but they might not be easy for you, like good
Mhm.
sleep. You can't always get good sleep. There's foundational things that you need to do for your health, like stabilize your blood sugar, eat
Right.
steady meals, eat quality food, avoid endocrine disruptors. We are living in a world where there's just toxins everywhere, stress everywhere, and these things wreak havoc on our hormones, and that's part of the problem why so many of us have these hormonal issues to begin with. So I definitely recommend supplements. Of course, I have a supplement company and I think they work wonders. And I also think you need to have a strong foundation too to
Mhm.
your health in general. So it's about approaching your health from a lot of different angles. So quality sleep is really important when you're talking about hormones. As I just said, avoid endocrine disruptors, which is like pesticides, plastics, artificial fragrances like fragrant laundry detergent, candles in your house. You don't want to touch receipts. There's so many things you can do to avoid the risk of endocrine disruptors. And we can't, of course, do everything. They're around us at all times, but try to minimize that impact. And then when it comes to supplements, it depends on what life stage you're at. But at Ladywell, I've created something called our daily hormone balance, which is a really great catch-all for all hormone care for women, dealing with PMS, PCOS, PMDD through perimenopause. I think the great thing about that supplement is it includes adaptogens, vitamins, amino acids, herbs. When I was doing my hormonal health journey, all the things I was taking were working so well for me, but it was very complicated. I was taking like 20 tinctures a day in my medicine cabinet. It was a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so I wanted to simplify that formula and simplify that process for women to create a formula that was really like a one-stop shop in a way that made it really simplistic to take care of your hormone health. So our daily hormone balance does that by bringing in adaptogens like ashwagandha. Chasteberry is an amazing herb for women of like basically all ages. So looking at your health from a lot of different angles,
Mhm.
a lot of women are vitamin B deficient, so we
Mhm.
get vitamin B, magnesium. 80% of women are magnesium deficient, so we include magnesium. So all these things work together to improve your hormonal health. Depending on what symptoms you have, will be improved. And there's something called herbal synergy. So some herbs work better when they're paired with each other, and so we think about that when we're formulating. So we create really thoughtful formulas that include herbs that play off of each other and help. If something causes a side effect, it will reduce that side effect by including this other herb. So things like that. And you want to, when you're choosing supplements, you want to choose formulas that are really holistically, comprehensively formulated. So they're really thoughtful in these ways. And I really recommend that all women include adaptogens in their plan because adaptogens are just wonderful. They help the body adapt to stress by supporting the adrenal system and balancing cortisol levels. We're all so stressed out, and I say mitigate your stress in your life and get rid of stress, which is amazing, but it's like we can't really
Get rid
really
of
realistically do that most of the
it.
time. So adaptogens are amazing because they just help give you that extra support that we all really need, especially in the world today. They promote hormone balance by influencing the HPA axis. They
Mhm.
support energy and stamina without overstimulating the nervous system. And they really enhance mood and focus. They reduce the effects of chronic stress on the brain. So I really recommend that women take this in their diet depending on what they need. We have ashwagandha in our daily hormone balance, which is I think amazing ingredient to add to your daily routine.
So, Ashley, what got you into herbalism? And then I'd love for you to explain a little bit more about what I mean, saying take ashwagandha is nice or, understanding the synergy between some herbs, adaptogens, some vitamins, some minerals, but not every supplement is made the same, which is something I really talk to our community about, that just going to GNC and picking up something off the shelf, you need to be a wise consumer. So can you talk a little bit about, one, what led you into herbalism? Because it's fascinating, but two, what you've done to ensure the quality of the products that you're delivering and why women should be comfortable. It, because we talked about endocrine disruptors, we talked about all these other toxins in our environment. How do we make sure that we're not introducing another thing that we need to be worried about putting into our bodies?
That's a really good point because you won't, especially when we're dealing with our hormones or fertility, things that are related to our body in that way. You don't want to be adding things to your body that will exacerbate the issue that's going on right then. So to answer your first question, my mom is an herbalist. It runs in our
Oh,
lineage. So
interesting.
yeah, she's a horticulturalist and herbalist. So she studied that. I grew up just being surrounded by the love of plants, the love of plant-based medicine. I was taking classes with about plant-based medicine since like basically middle school. So it's always been in my family and it just in part of my life. And so once I had my own hormonal health journey and I was using these products, like it just made sense to me that this would be the next company I founded.
Mhm.
And it's just been in my blood for so long. And then what I want to say when we're shopping for supplements, the supplement industry is like the wild, wild west. It
Oh
isn't
my gosh,
FDA
yes.
regulated. So you do have to be a smart consumer when you're shopping. You have to be a smart consumer when you're shopping anything that you ingest or even put in your skin. You want to be putting things in your skin that aren't adding endocrine disruptors as well.
Correct.
But if we're talking about supplements, it's always great to look for ones that are tested, third party tested for purity and potency. There's labs called NSF or USP
Mhm.
that help certify products to make sure they're clean and potent, and you want to have in the product what is said on the label, so that that tells you that that's true, and that's really important, of course. So clean ingredients, no fillers, artificial dyes, or unnecessary additives. Personally don't want to take like artificial flavors and artificial
Mhm.
colors, and I know that's, like, really a mainstream thing that's in so many things, but I look for products that don't contain that, and I think that's a really important thing to do because, once again, just more toxins are unnecessary. Bioavailable forms like methylated B12 or folate instead of synthetic forms are a thing to look for. Transparent labeling, so I'm just making sure that you've seen what's in the bottles and the product. I just talked about the third-party labs. Formulated by experts is something I would definitely recommend. So,
Mhm.
Ladywell, we are formulated by doctors. I have a medical team of 4 amazing doctors who have different focuses, whether it's perimenopause, fertility, the more of the early years of a woman's health. And so I take together these different women's perspectives, and a lot of them come from either Eastern medicine or Western medicine, and I take the best of all these women's, the brain power that they bring and formulate based on their expertise and their clinical experience working with real patients. So I'd recommend if you're going to buy from a brand, it's you look who's formulating, what team's formulating, like where do these formulas come from, basically.
Right.
I think it's a really important thing to know. And then depending on who you are, you wanna look for the claims like non-GMO, organic, sustainably sourced, vegan. Though
Mhm.
those are gonna be personalized, but those can be very important. Like, I don't want GMO, so all our products are vegan and non-GMO. And so
Mhm.
you wanna make sure that there is there. And then a lot of the supplements, I think this is an unfortunate thing. It'll say it includes chasteberry, for example, and there's just a dusting of it, not enough to do real impact on your body. So these tiny ineffective amounts are really just for show and to say that they can claim that this is on the label. So I think that's a little bit harder for consumers to know because like not anybody off the street is not gonna know how much of an ingredient that you need, so it's just buying from brands that have good reviews and that, you hear podcasts like this, so you know it's from a real person who has a team of doctors and instead of just, like, going on Amazon and finding something that's cheap. A lot of the times, I think cheap supplements can be red flags. As somebody who runs a supplement company, it's expensive to make high quality
Yeah.
supplements. And so if you're looking at something for your hormones, that's $50 and then a similar product is $20. That's a red flag to me because it just costs a lot. Like there's no way that a daily hormone balance like what I'm creating can be sold for like $15, right? They're losing money then. So that just shows you that the ingredients that they're sourcing are subpar or there's just not enough of the active ingredients in there. So you want to make sure that you're taking it and it's actually doing something as well.
And that's a next good question, which is how long do you so nothing's a magic button. So you can't necessarily take daily hormone balance and feel better tomorrow. Knowing what you know about herbs and supplements in general, how long should people be taking a supplement? Like any of the supplement line from Ladywell before they start to feel something? And do you encourage people to symptom journal or what ways are we tracking that there's actually improvement while we're trying to we're coming into, we're making all these other changes. We're trying to sleep better because lifestyle always has to come first. 100% agree with you. Navigate better weight. So having a weight management strategy, getting your sleep, implementing mindfulness strategies to reduce stress. We'll never get rid of stress, but how do we track that our supplement strategy is working? And how long should I give? 4, 8 weeks before I start to see a benefit?
Yeah, consistency is key. So you need to take supplements daily. It's not a pharmaceutical, not like an Advil you take in your head, it goes away. You get to be consistent. Um, I recommend taking a supplement for at least 3 months for it to
Okay.
feel the full effects, like, especially adaptogens, they layer on top of each other. With for example, the daily hormone balance, different symptoms will be, lessened at different times. For example, like, you might notice that bloating will start to diminish immediately. Your
Mhm.
first cycle will have less mood swings, but if you continue to take it, those symptoms will continue to improve and improve. So 3 months is really the minimum I'd say take it. Most women see the best results after 6 to 12 weeks of time to rebalance hormones, nourish your cycle. So give it the appropriate amount of time. I think a good rule of thumb when taking any supplement, starting a new thing, you don't want to start like a million different supplements at once. It's like
Exactly.
you can never know what's working. So I do recommend starting with one thing and then layering on different things as you feel is necessary. And definitely give it time to work and be consistent. If you're not consistent about it, you need to get back on it. And we all fall off the wagon on different things at different points, and it's fine. You just start taking it again and just give it enough time to kick in. Yeah. And then to answer your question about tracking your symptoms, I always recommend that women track their cycle. I think it's the most powerful tool we have. There's so many symptom trackers and cycle tracker apps nowadays. So it's like choose whatever way works best for you. Other women have diary, like symptom
Journal.
diaries that they have. But when you know where you are in your menstrual cycle, it gives you so much power of to insights on your own body and how you're feeling. If you know if you're trying to get pregnant, you'll know when you're ovulating. If you're not trying to get pregnant, you'll know when you're ovulating. Equally important. And then once I started tracking my cycle, I started realizing that these mood swings were really like consistent and I knew when to expect them. So it gave me a lot more power over myself and I had a lot less shame and regret. I think, like, when I was not tracking my cycle, I wouldn't really know I was in a period of mood swings
Mhm.
necessarily until it was, like, over, and then I would have a lot of regret for how I acted. But once I started tracking my cycle, I was able to control my emotions better, and I also was able to go easy on myself. Like, it's my luteal phase, I might be crampy, like, let's not throw a huge party at my house, like, whatever it might be. So I think that's really important, and you can track symptoms that way, and then that also helps you see that the supplements are working. We just actually did a consumer study at Ladywell on our daily hormone balance supplement, actually, and we had women track their symptoms every day over the course of 3 months to see how the supplement was working really well, and we had great reviews. It was like 97% had reduced symptoms. And so, I think tracking that, like, it's kind of fun because it shows you how your body is working, how you're
Exactly.
changing, and it's actually it's pretty exciting. So I definitely recommend tracking your symptoms if you have the time. It doesn't take very long. Yeah.
And are these supplements supplemental to things like oral contraceptives? I mean, I know a lot of women with PMDD end up getting put on SSR, medications for depression, anxiety. Did you find in your personal journey, did you find that you were able to come off some of those other medications once your hormonal physiology was more navigated or balanced in a way that you were more healthful?
Yeah, I never chose to go on SSRIs. I think I might have taken them for 1 week at one point, but I knew I wasn't depressed because my symptoms weren't
They
consistently all
cycled.
month long. Yeah,
Right.
so once my period was over, I was like, "That was last week's me problem. Now I'm, like, back to my own self." So, yeah, I never took SSRIs, but I can say that once I started taking balancing my hormones and taking these supplements, I have a consistent mood. I don't have these mood
Mhm.
swings or
Mhm.
depression or anxiety, so I wouldn't need to be on SSRIs, and that's really the goal with hormone balance and supplementing. You want to get rid of these supplements or sorry, these symptoms and navigate that through natural solutions versus, SSRIs, which have, other side effects that are not happy.
Exactly. And a lot of women in our community are perimenopause, going through postmenopause. Are there Is there a regimen that you would also recommend? Because there's a lot of changes. I mean, a lot of people talk about premenopause going to menopause as reverse menarche. But I just think of it as we're different phases of our hormone status as we go through different phases of life. Are there life stages where you have different recommendations for combinations of herbs and adaptogens and minerals that are best suited for what we're navigating at that time?
Definitely. So perimenopause is a time where you will have a lot of different symptoms and it can be personal to each woman. There are very common things like sleep issues, hot
Mhm.
flashes, brain fog. A lot of those things are really common to most women. We have a specific supplement called Perimeno, which is targeted for that life stage. And we recommend that women take it with the daily hormone balance. So those two supplements are designed to synergistically work together. Our
Okay.
Perimeno one will be launching in the fall. Our Daily
Okay.
Hormone Balance Run is available right now. And I think in general, if we're just talking about individual ingredients, magnesium is great. It helps calm mood, supports sleep. B complex is really good. It supports mood, energy, and
Yeah.
hormone metabolism. Adaptogens, like I mentioned, like ashwagandha, rhodiola, chasteberry, I mentioned that one earlier. Omega-3s, those are really great. They reduce
Mhm.
inflammation and support
Mhm.
brain hormone health. Vitamin D3 and K2 are great.
Uh-huh.
And then calcium, probiotics, there's a lot of different things. And so that's the thing.
You're talking my language.
There's a lot of different things that you can do. And so our supplements combine all these things in one formula or 2 formulas if we're talking about a perimenopause one too. So to help you from a lot of different angles because we wanna support your mood, we wanna support your sleep, but then we also wanna support your body and your physiological changes.
Is there anyone who shouldn't be taking these supplements?
Well, even if you're taking HRT, which is a common thing nowadays and can be really
Mhm,
helpful for a
mhm.
lot of women, you can still take our supplements and they will be beneficial to you. Um, who shouldn't be taking it? There's always a risk of an adverse reaction to some ingredient. Some people can be allergic to nightshades, for example, and that's ashwagandha. So
Uh-huh.
if you start taking a supplement and then you have adverse reaction, then you should stop. But
Yeah.
I don't have a specific list of people who shouldn't take it. Yeah.
Awesome. And one question I know has come up, whether you're on social media or just looking at women's health in general. Do I need to test my hormones before I start taking any of the Ladywell supplements, or will they actually change my hormone levels if I do take them?
You don't need to start testing your supplement or your sorry, you don't need to test your hormones before taking the supplements. Most if you see symptoms of hormonal imbalance, I think it's okay to assume that there are some things going on there and you can start treating yourself with supplements. I think when you start to see a doctor is when you are feeling out of control on it and maybe supplements are not working. You just feel like you're in a hole and can't get yourself out of it. I think that's when you wanna see a doctor. Unfortunately, our healthcare system isn't set up that you can just go to your doctor and easily
Mhm,
get like a Dutch test or get tested for hormones really easily. It's expensive. I often will say go see a naturopathic doctor. Once
mhm.
again, it's expensive, so it's not accessible for a lot of women. I think it's unfortunate, but it's the reality. That's also why I created Ladywell is because I want to create accessible solutions that you don't need to spend thousands of dollars going to a doctor. You can treat yourself with supplements that are safe and effective at home. And that's really my goal is to make something accessible. So I think it's great if you have the means to go see a specialized doctor. And I think it's fun too to like test your hormones and see where you're at. So it is depending on your financial situation, yeah.
Awesome. And I know that, first of all, thank you for joining me today. I know we're coming short on time, but I had two last questions for you,
Yeah.
if you have a couple minutes.
Yeah, I did.
So there are many people out there who are listening who may be skeptical about herbs, supplements, adaptogens, and these are all things. I mean, I was smiling because all of the combinations that you're talking about are things that we talk about in our program, and being able to take them in one supplement as opposed to purchasing 10 different supplements is amazing.
Mhm.
But for a skeptic, what is one thing that you would say to them about the Ladywell product line, or even just understanding more about their own bodies so that they could better recognize how this combination of supplements, adaptogens, and I'm specifically separating them, but how that combination could be helpful to them as they're going through different phases of life?
Yeah. I totally get the skepticism. There are a lot of supplements out there that overpromise and underdeliver,
Mhm.
unfortunately. But the truth is many women today are depleted due to stress, environmental toxins, nutrient poor diets. Even with a healthy lifestyle, it's hard to get everything we need, especially during key phases like perimenopause, fertility, postpartum. So, high quality, evidence based supplements aren't about quick fixes. They're about giving your body targeted support so it can function better over time. So, just as you take iron if you are anemic or magnesium for leg cramps, supplements can fill real gaps that you have and help bring back your system into balance. The key is choosing well formulated products with clinically backed ingredients in the right forms and doses and not like a gimmicky thing that you see on TikTok, for example. So it's about choosing the right things. And if you are dedicated to your supplements and your health goals, you really can feel better when you are on the right plan and stick to it.
Awesome. And final question, if you weren't running Ladywell, what would you be doing?
I would like to just spend some time with my kids. I have a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old, so,
So you're living stress.
yeah, the more mom time, I think, it's a short-lived little slice of life you have with your children, so spend more time going to the beach and playground and all that kind of stuff.
For someone who's entrepreneurial minded, I have a feeling that would you'd probably be doing that in addition to something else.
Yeah, I probably would. Actually, I do have an answer to that that's different. I would love to start a kids food line for toddlers. There's a lack of healthy toddler snacks out there. There's just
Oh, yeah.
tons of ones that just have so much added sugar, and I get it. Like, it's hard to get toddlers to eat food unless it's, really tasty, but there are, like, natural and healthy versions of things out there, but there's just not enough of them, so I want more options because kids get sick of certain foods quickly, and, like, we just need more options, so that's what I would be doing.
More healthy options.
Yes, exactly.
Ashley, thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us on Thrive on Plants. Where can people contact you or learn more about Ladywell? I've been on your website and your blog is awesome, but I'd love for
Thank
you to
you.
share how best to contact you.
Yeah, definitely check out our blog. Our website is getladywell.com. We created a discount code for your audience, so Daphne20 for 20% off any supplement on our website.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I also recommend checking this out on social media. Our handle is Get Ladywell, and we post educational tips and just videos about hormones. Hormonal health is complicated, so having some content to fill in the educational gaps is really helpful. Yeah, and definitely check out our blog. It's very robust and it helps people of all life stages.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Ashley, thank you. I really appreciate it getting to learn more about Ladywell, learn about your journey, and thank you for sharing everything you're doing with women in general.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful.
Take care. Well, I hope you enjoyed this conversation today with Ashley Rocha, the CEO of Ladywell. I had a lot of takeaways. One, and many of them are things that we've talked about on this podcast, or we've talked about in the Thrive on Plants community, or even in my menopause mastery program. One, the supplements are meant to supplement, and they're meant to supplement your lifestyle changes. So you still need to focus on your mindset. Your mindset's important. How you're fueling your body, how you're moving your body, your sleep, your stress management, the toxins that are in our environment and becoming toxin aware, not toxin phobic, but toxin aware. And once you have an understanding of that, then introducing in a strategic fashion supplements and supplementation with products that can help support your hormone health, help that can help support you at different phases of your life journey as a woman. And I want you to know that the information is available. This is information for you that you can share with your healthcare team. That yes, maybe there aren't randomized controlled clinical trials on every single supplement and adaptogen that Ashley talked about today. But if she was able to help cure herself, and she's been able to help over 30,000 women that have participated in purchasing products from Ladywell, then maybe she can help you too. And if you're not sure, I would encourage you to at least explore the Ladywell blog, where there's a plethora of information about women's health that I think you would benefit from learning. But here's my challenge to you. What one thing did you take away from today's conversation that's important in understanding how you can improve your hormone health? Whether you're premenopause and experiencing symptoms of PMS, PMDD, whether you're perimenopause and navigating the hormone changes associated with perimenopause, or even whether you're like me, postmenopause, but could still benefit from some of the adaptogens and other types of supplements, vitamins, and minerals that are included in Ladywell's products. Now, I'm not affiliated with Ladywell. I just want you to know that there are natural, healthful products out there that can be an adjunct to your current healthcare strategy. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, leave comments. We read all the comments and we're happy to reply back. Share this episode with someone who may benefit from learning more about hormone health. And most importantly, I hope that this was something that you can apply to you. Your health is important to me, and I'm here to help you live optimally in the body that you have. With that, thank you for joining me today. Keep thriving on plants and living with purpose. Be well. The information shared on the Thrive on Plants podcast is intended solely for educational and informational purposes. It is not medical advice, and it should never be used as a substitute for personalized guidance from a qualified healthcare professional. Always consult with your physician or healthcare provider before making any changes to your nutrition, exercise routine, supplement use, or your overall wellness plan. The opinions and advice shared by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Vegan Gym or its team. While we aim to bring you high-quality, thoughtful conversations, these perspectives are not intended to replace professional medical care. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, you have the power to thrive on plants and live with purpose.